Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and every once in a while I get really excited about a product and then get really let down when I actually use it. And that's how I feel about the Mad Catz Mojo. It lacks a lot of mojo at the moment. It's a nice piece of hardware though, and Mad Catz makes nice hardware. In fact, they've been making gaming hardware for a long time, and this is certainly no exception. It's a well-built little wedge of a console, has a Tegra 4 processor built in, 16 gigabytes of storage, 2 gigabytes of RAM, really capable modern Android system that should be able to game quite well. They have 2 USB ports on board, although one is occupied by the controller dongle, which was kind of disappointing, but the other one is a USB 3 port, which is nice. Ethernet is on board, you have Wi-Fi built in, and you have HDMI, and below the HDMI, which you really can't see on camera right now, is a MicroSD card slot, so you can stick your own cards in there. You have a headphone jack here, and of course the power cord. The controller is really nice. It feels really nice in the hand. It's got a nice feel to it, and I'm really happy with how it performs. They also give you a mounting bracket, so you could use this with your Android smartphone. You put the mounting bracket on, and you can put your phone on there and connect it to the phone, except they want you to pull the dongle out first out of this thing because this is always on. It never shuts off. So that was just a little wacky that you have to like disconnect hardware to get it to work with something else. So that's the hardware. Now, when you get this device and install it for the first time, there's no welcome mat. This is what you get. You get this screen here that just says to you, okay, here you go. Here's your Android desktop and figure it out, dude. I figured that this Mojo icon in the center here was what we wanted to click on. Now what happens is the controller becomes kind of like a mouse. So obviously you don't have a touch screen on your television, or at least most of us don't. So you have to move the little thumbstick around here to move the mouse pointer. And then when you click on this, I thought I would get some app that would kind of guide me through the process. And no, you get this like 18 or 15 step web page that you have to kind of click through to get things working here. So they tell you how to set up the controller. The controller has a couple different modes, and we're in mouse mode right now. You can have it work just like in a game controller mode where you can move the cursor around with the little thumb, the gamepad here, but for some reason they really want you in this mouse mode, probably because it's easier to have a pointer. So then the first thing they want you to do is get all these security settings, like all the stuff that this thing should just come configured with by default is just not on board. They want you to install a file explorer, antivirus. They want you to put a orientation lock on it. And again, all of these things they want you to do right off the bat. But the thing that really got me after all this junk was done with was the firmware. Now, you would think this is like any other modern Android device, would just be an over-the-air update. But no, you've got to go download this huge update file, load another program which will look for the file on the device, and then update the firmware. Maybe this newer firmware will function better, but for a $200 device, you think the point of entry, the welcome mat, would be a little more intuitive when you first get things going. But that's not all, because when you do get things up and running and you go over to the Google Play Store excited to try to load up something great and fun, like a benchmark perhaps, so you can see how powerful this device really is, you get this message here. Your device isn't compatible with this version. And it turns out most of the stuff that you want to run from the App Store isn't going to work on here because apparently it doesn't meet whatever compatibility standards the developers set. Now, there is a FAQ on the Mad Catz website where they say they're working with developers to get them to comply with this, but their solution to you is to root the device, and they give you a free pass. If you somehow brick it or whatever, they're not going to void your warranty. But it's kind of a process to go buy this thing and then have to go through all this installation. I remember buying like an Apple IIe in 1982 with my dad. We had to put all the cards in and all this stuff, but that isn't how technology works anymore. And to have to go buy a USB A to A cable, plug it into your computer, go through all this command line stuff just to get this thing up and running, it's just, I don't have time for that aggravation. Now, the other thing that really got me was that on the Amazon page, they indicated this is like an App Store agnostic device. And in fairness, they do have multiple app stores on here, but there's only 2. You have the Google Play Store, of course, and you also have the NVIDIA Tegra store. So you do have some options, but the other issue I ran into with this was that they claimed that you're going to have Ouya store support, which maybe is coming, but on the Amazon description page it said the Ouya store was in, and I was really excited about that because I think Ouya's done a really nice job of putting a game console layer or launcher onto Android, and unfortunately that is not yet available. And the Amazon App Store also could not figure out a way to get it on here either. So I am rambling a bit, but I was just really ticked off because this is just a lot of money to pay for something that really doesn't do anything useful when you get it home. So I think Ouya probably needs a good hook on better hardware, and Mad Catz needs better software. So perhaps this marriage that they're talking about, where the Ouya store will live on this device when it ever gets to it, it might actually save both this device and maybe Ouya, because right now I can't recommend this at all. And it's a shame, because it is a really nice piece of hardware with a lot of potential, but at the moment you're really going to be disappointed with it if you bring it home and try to get it to do anything. So that is the Mad Catz Mojo, and in fairness to Mad Catz, I am going to follow this review up when they come out with that Ouya App Store option, so we can see how it functions as an Ouya console, because it is a lot more powerful than the Ouya that it technically might be replacing in the coming months here. So we'll give it another shot. But right now, I would not spend the $200 and hang on to that, or just buy two Ouyas or something until they do make some changes. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.